All right, number 7, factor. I see 4 pieces right away. I'm like, hey, it's got to be factor by grouping. So in this first set, the first 2 pieces, what comes out? 16 and 24. Looks like an 8 will factor out. N cubed, n squared, and n squared will come out. So 8 times a 2, n will give me the 16n cubed. Plus 8 times a 3 will give me the 24 n squared. We already pulled the n squared out, so that's it. Now, I do have a minus here. I do need to look at that as plus a negative. Okay? Plus a negative. Okay? Otherwise, it'll have to distribute through and it makes it incorrect. So what factors out of a negative 2n and a negative 3? Doesn't look like anything. Except for, I told you, we will always factor out a negative piece there. Whenever we change it to plus a negative, we're going to factor out a negative piece. So it's going to be a negative 1 that comes out. That'll leave you with 2n, because negative 1 times 2n is negative 2n. And negative 1 times what will give you a negative 3? A positive 3. You'll notice at this point that you have a 2n plus 3 and a 2n plus 3. So that's what factors out. Left behind with the first piece, 8n squared. And the second part, plus negative 1, or at this point, we can just write it as minus 1. That's what that factors to. Factor by grouping, and the key is you have to change this to plus a negative and then factor out a negative there every single time. Number 8 wants us to factor this trinomial. The problem is in front there's a 10. So at the front, I have to think, what could create a 10? Well, there could be 1 and 10, 2 and 5. And on the back side, let's see if I can get red. For 6, we have 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. So I have to look at all the possibilities of these. Excuse me, there'll be a total of 8 that will give me a 17 in the middle. Okay, so let's look just at a few and then see. I'm trying to look in my head to see if I know which one it is. Okay, so let's look at the possibilities. Let's start right here. So we know there's n and 10n. And number-wise, we could have 1 here and 6, or they could do what? They could flip, couldn't they? 6 and then 1. I could have the n and the 10n. And instead of the 1 and the 6, we use the 2 and the 3. The 2 could be here and the 3 here, or they could flip. Three and 2. So I always have to look at them being flipped. Now, let's see what we get here. Do note that it's a negative 6. So one of them is a subtraction, one of them is an addition. Here we have 10n, 6n. The difference there is 4. We want a difference of what? Positive 17. So that's not it. There's 60 and 1. Difference there is going to be 59n. Not going to work. 20 and 3 has a difference of, difference of how much? 17, which is what we want. Now, excuse me, since it has plus 17, we see a 20 and a 3n. So when we do the middle, we're going to have 20n. And the out is going to be a 3n. We want plus, so I need the minus to be on that and the plus on the 20n. That means the addition goes here, positive 2, positive 10 gives you 20n. The minus goes here, so that n and 3 gives you 3n. That right there, n plus 2 times a 10n minus 3 will give us 10n squared plus 17n minus 6.